I sent Cap that clip that Mediocre Tutorials did, and we talked about it for a little bit, and he pointed out some stuff that he was like, he was like, I got a couple things to add, but he was like, oh no, you're still gonna be just as pissed off as you are now, but just to give it, some more context, because we had been talking about, she said she wouldn't date blue collar men. Um, and the irony is it's like a lot of these women make that statement and they don't even know how much these men are making. They have no clue how much these men are making. It's just like drug dealers. You got guys that are, selling a little bit of weed, and you also got guys that are, moving weight. They're both drug dealers. And so you could have a guy that's a plumber and owns the plumbing business, and he's a plumber, right? Or you could have a guy that's just a plumber. But I was listening to the Jessica X versus Chrissy battle, and Jessica X, she had a panel and she brought some women on there, and they were shitting on blue collar guys, and they were talking about the woman, the 35-year-old woman with Kevin Samuels and all that other stuff. And she was like, well, what, you act like she's supposed to be out here dating she said a plumber and a welder. And the guy responded, because it was a guy on the panel, and he said, you don't even know what welders are making. After a welder, finishes his apprenticeship, he can make good money. And they don't have any clue. And so we talked about that because, I had brought that up to Cap a couple days ago. I was like, man, what is with the way that these women just be shitting on blue collar workers? Now, there's been a couple black women who got some channels, when I mean a couple, I really mean a few, who have, or actually a few is more than a couple, but you get my point. There's a very small handful of, because I'm not going to sit here and deny and say that I've never seen the women make these videos, because I've seen just, a few videos of some women who have pointed out, this whole misconception about blue collar workers. Right? And, there's just a lot of shitting on blue collar workers. And it really goes to, the fact that the working man, and Cap has always pointed this out, he's always said this, that the working man in the black community, it's no longer respected. It's no longer a respected position. And I hate hearing that, because it just reinforces to me why, some brothers, may find it easier on the other side of the fence, because the whole idea of just the disrespect that goes towards working men, like if you're not, what people are saying, six figures, like people were talking about six figures in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like first off, the whole gap of six figures is just huge, but yet everybody keeps throwing up six figures. It's a very, to me, black people, they want to sit here, and because of all these woke conversations, they want to talk about wealth, but everything is six figures, six figures, six figures. And you hear a lot of women throwing up the six figures, six figures, six figures. And most of these women either live in poverty or from poverty, and it's just a real simplistic, basic, uninformed way of the black people, kind of present their claim where they want to go. You know what I mean? It's very limited in its scope. And I see a lot of women saying this. You know what I mean? People who jump up and they're like six figures, six figures. They never even seen six figures. Six figures, six figures, six figures. And I think that for a lot of black women, it comes out of, and I talk about this in another video that I didn't post because I got distracted with the whole dentist thing. But, there's this inferiority complex that I see that, black women have. And the hypergamy conversation is designed to counter, the way that black women feel that they've been cheated or rejected or whatever. And so now all these women are just demanding, what they want. Right? I demand this. I feel I deserve this and whatnot. And So that's what everybody's on, despite the fact that it's COVID-19. People are unemployed and underemployed, and people moving back in their parents, and all this other type of shit that's going on right now. It looks like I've never heard so many black people talk about six figures, six figures, six figures. It's all about six figures, six figures, six figures. Right? So every black woman in the world wants six dude that's making six figures, despite how unrealistic that is. Despite that, people making six figures, I think it's anywhere from 9% to 15%. I don't know what the breakdown looks like when you break down along gender lines, but then, you break down along gender lines and then you break down along race lines, right? Obviously, there's more white men that make six figures than there are black men that make six figures. You know what I mean? So I don't even know what that percentage looks like that every black woman out here feels that she deserves as a brother making six figures, right? And this is the part of the problem with the narrative that, all black women are super educated. They're all going to the moon and back. They all got degrees out the ass. They're all killing it, when that's not the facts. A lot of black women are the face of poverty. And so you get these women that they like, they shit on the blue collar guys, they have no clue how much of the blue collar guys are making. And they talk about what they feel they deserve. And you know what the problem is, especially like with the woman that was on Mediocre Tutorials, what black women now, because of the hypergamous conversations, feel they deserve, especially for these single mothers. No, it's actually what they need. It's not even about what they feel they deserve. It's actually what they need, because they got 3 mouths to feed. And so I'm not going to slam that woman all the way, because at least she recognizes that with 3 mouths to feed, she can't be with a broke Dusty. But I think it's rather offensive, to act like, blue collar guys, are all broke Dusties. Like, that's part of the problem. Like, these generalized, statements like that. She don't even know what she's throwing away. On top of the fact, the arrogance, where we're like, it's like women act like blue collar guys are the default, or like the worst thing that they can have. And I'm like, who says a blue collar guy wants to deal with you and your 3 kids that you had by somebody else? You know what I mean? I mean, this woman had the audacity to sit there and talk about, I need a man to take care of all 3 of my kids and me, because I want to be spoiled. I want to be splurged on and all this other shit. Like he's supposed to break her off. And I'm like, oh, what is with all these women who they just think that they are just so fine and so bad, and the fantasy for some guy, and all he wants to do is spend money on her and her 3 kids. I mean, she went as far to talk about her legacy, right? Her legacy. I'm like, this lady's got wrong orientation. On top of the fact, so let me get this right. So you expect some dude to come in and take on the whole boatload? The whole boatload. And the most hilarious thing is she's sitting there talking about wealth and men being wealthy. And I'm like, what man would go off and say, I'm going to choose a woman that has 3 children who is even focused on wealth? Because that is the epitome of undermining his wealth. Like, man, he would already have to be insanely wealthy in order. I shouldn't say insanely wealthy, because there's men out here who can support 3 kids. But again, I don't know what the fantasy of the lifestyle that she wants to live. Where everything is, concrete walls and, stainless steel appliances and, glass, windows and glass walls, even within her own home, right? Living in an ultra modern home and whatnot, like that Mercedes-Benz commercial that I talked about on my old channel. By the way, the strikes are off my old channel, so I can, unprivatize my old, Sarge WP channel. I'll probably do that. I just don't like having to monitor the 2 channels, but there's at least 300 videos over there for some of you, some of you who just got here. But what was I saying? I was talking about, this woman and her delusion. It's like she's delusional and she's not. Like, in other words, I'll give an ounce of credit, because at least she recognizes that she has 3 mouths to feed, so she does have to get with a man with resources. But then on the flip side, it's like her arrogance at the idea, like she's like, Like as though any man, white collar or blue collar, is clamoring to get with her. I mean, it doesn't sound to me like she even has any dude that like the guy that she had the baby with, or the guys that she had the baby with. I don't know what the situation is, but I'm saying she got 3 mouths to feed. And it doesn't sound to me when she says that she needs somebody to come through and take care of all 3 of her children and, spend money on her. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound to me like you have any money coming in from the guy. So it sounds like she went out here and got with a Ray Ray and Pookie, or got with a Dusty. And that's the part that kills me with these women. All this, you go out there, let somebody just bust all up inside you. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't, got nothing to show for it. Then you turn around and then you demand with attitude that somebody else come through and provide for you and all this other stuff, right? While simultaneously talking about how black men need to build a community and they should be focused on wealth and everything else. Well, if I'm trying to build wealth, the fastest way for me not to build wealth is to go out here and get with a woman that has 3 kids. I mean, I don't know what women don't understand about that. And it seems like, not only is this disrespect for working men, and then going back to Dame Dash and, you're not a boss. You got to be a boss. You got to be a boss, right? So, all this attitude about boss niggas and you got to be a boss and you can't have a boss and especially your boss can't be white because black women got issue with that as well, because, you're just being submissive to not only another man, but another race of man and all that other stuff, right? So you got this whole fantasy idea about, what it is to be a man that they can actually respect. And, it's like, I don't want to say this. It's like there's no respect for any like working class man. I can't explain it any other way. There's just no respect. And I don't know how we got to this point. I mean, she even made the joke about, oh, it's not 1929 and all that. And Kat made the point that what ended up happening is, once the jobs left the black community, the decline of Detroit and stuff like that. And again, this goes back into, maybe this is just female nature, but and this is why, another reason I don't subscribe to religion, because once you take the jobs out, you're done. It's not a matter of, you can have all the churches that you want. You can have all the Christianity that you want. If you don't have men that are gainfully employed and can, be in the position to where women have to negotiate their survival with those men, this is pretty much what you get. You get women feeling like they don't need a man and all the other shit. And then when they need a man, like in this situation, we go from what a woman feels she deserves, which is now after the fact. Many of these women that have already, fucked up are now jumping on the bandwagon of the hypergamous camp, talking about what they feel that they deserve because they got burned, you know what I mean? It's just so delusional. It's like you already fucked up. Now you're going to take what you feel you deserve when in actuality, it's what you need right now. Because now you do have 3 mouths to feed. It's like you just have these black women, it's like we now have a culture where black women feel they don't have to negotiate their survival, with black men. And when they do come across a man that has resources, right, they feel like your resources are supposed to be allocated so that they can do whatever the fuck it is that they want to do. Whatever it is that they're trying to do, whatever responsibilities, whatever it is they have to take care of, you as a man are supposed to take your resources and give it to them so that they can do whatever they want to do. And maybe they'll bless you with some pussy. Yeah, I'm like, this is what the culture is now. And then people can talk about colorism all they want. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying there's so many things working against black women on this front. It's insane. And many of the things that are working against black women, black women are they reinforce it themselves. It's like every other video on YouTube now is some black woman talking about what she feels she's entitled to, and she got mouths to feed. Her talking about, I need a 6-figure man and everything else like that. Like, I'm sorry, ladies, but it is not hypergamy to demand that you have some wealthy man take care of you and take care of your kids that are not his kids. That's not hypergamy. Hypergamy is where you start out as a childless woman and you're looking to date up. All these women that have made mistakes and that's not hypergamy. You don't even have anything to offer these dudes that they would actually want. And then you got women out here, selling, all these lies and all this other stuff. Or you get, women who went out there and married some beta male sucker, or some dude, that is just, they trample all over and then try to claim, that this is possible. We got a lot of delusional people out here. You see me addressing the men with their delusion. Yeah, I'm going to be 50 and smashing 25-year-olds. Delusional. And so it's got a lot of delusional people in the black community right now. But I look at the shit with disgust. Like, and to have an attitude about it. You got 3 mouths to feed and have an attitude about who you rejected and what you feel you deserve. Like, it's not even about what you deserve at this. It's about what you need. What you deserve has turned into what you actually need. No, you're going to need a man that's probably making, over 6 figures when you got 3 mouths to feed and you want him to trick out on you. I'm just trying to figure out why a man like that would choose you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why would he choose you? If he's relatively young, he doesn't have any kids himself. Why would he choose you? Or even if let's say he's divorced and he has 1 child. He could probably still do better than you. That doesn't mean that he's going to go all the way back down and get a 25-year-old. But he could probably still, with 1 kid and he's making good money, he could probably still get, a woman that's, 33, 35, 36. Maybe she wants to start a family, but she doesn't have it. I'm not saying that should be her only option. I'm just saying this is kind of what goes on. You know what I mean? Again, there's always going to be that slight imbalance between men and women when it comes to this because, again, women don't share their wealth with men. I wouldn't suggest to a woman making more money like with the woman that has the pet grooming business for her to date down. I'm not going to suggest that. I advocate on no level role reversal. But, I'm just saying there is always going to be that slight difference because men are socialized and women are socialized to be taken care of and men are socialized to take care of women. So a woman may sit there and see a guy and say, oh, he's got a kid, but oh, he makes a lot of money. Oh, he's got enough to take care of me and, a second child. And she may go with that. But there's no situation where a man is going to link up with a single mom that's already making money and walk into that situation. And then she's going to take care of him and the child that they have together. Women don't do that, which is why all these women are running around talking about they all want 6-figure dudes. They all want, all these guys that, are in the top, let's just say 10%, of incomes. It's one of the reasons why, men that make that much money or more can be arrogant or can be picky or can be selective. They can be because, it's supply and demand. Every black woman on the internet apparently wants 6 figures and above. Every last one of them. Now, point me to a black woman that doesn't want a man making 6 figures or more. Every last one of them wants that. You show me all the men that are raising their hand saying, I want to date a woman that has 3 children. Show them to me. Blue collar or white collar. Show them to me. Show me where this army of dudes saying, ooh, 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 I'm looking for a single mother. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But yeah, you have women, whether the man has kids or not, you got women running around screaming, I want a man making 6 figure. Obviously, he's got to make more if he's got a kid or got kids or whatever. But, you see what goes on. The more income a dude has, you have these women that go out there like the situation with Future, 11 baby mamas and whatnot. Right? Women are like, okay, he's rich enough. I'll be a part of his harem. That's why this shit goes on. But you got guys that are living in fantasy worlds. They don't even make even anything near that. And somehow they think they can go out there and do the same thing. No, you cannot have a harem of women on $40,000 a year. Sorry, you can't. Now, if you got, $10, $20 million, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women that would line up to have your baby, even though they know about your other baby mamas. Yeah, if you raking it in like that. But again, as I said, and I say this in this other video, this long video that I did, men have been communicating, exchanging ideas, talking about, these particular issues. And I can tell you that my generation and the generation below are not going for it. What these women think passed off in the 70s and in the 80s and the 90s, like that's dead. We're not doing that no more. That whole going out here, I mean, if a dude is worth his weight in gold or weight in salt, whatever you want to say, he ain't going for that. There's no benefit to that situation. None. I mean, this woman said her legacy, talking about children that are not biologically his. At the end of the day, what y'all really don't get is when you have kids, and you're trying to go out here, date, bring another man into the picture, especially when y'all have custody. Those kids are not his kids. I don't know where you all get this idea that men don't want to deal with their own kids. And you somehow think that men are swappable or interchangeable, and that guy number 2 who comes in after you done had a baby by whoever is going to, just walk in the building and just start opening up his wallet. Like, you're drunk. You're not that awesome. You may not even be that pretty. You know what I'm saying? Or you're just not that pleasant to be around. I mean, this chick had a stank attitude. I mean, I felt bad for, blue collar guys, man. I'm like, damn, like the audacity of this chick to assume that they're clamoring to get to her. She in her own house drinking out of a metal mug and got the audacity to sit there and say that blue collar guys will have you drinking out of a cup like this. I'm like, bitch, you're in your own fucking house drinking out of a fucking metal cup. What are you talking about? Like as though all blue collar guys, they're like, would you care for some wine? And they go and they grab the red wine and grab 2 mason jars and start pouring wine into mason jars, to us. You know what I mean? Fuck out of here. They never make these fucking Capri Suns big enough, right? And they're like terrible. I don't even know why I get those things. I like taste, but like it's like a swallow. It's not even a real drink. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I don't know. It's just wrong orientation across the board. I mean, just across the board. The The culture of African American women in the community is as such, and it's fucked up because women that don't even have any kids, they get sucked into the shit. You know what I mean? But the culture is that a black man, working a regular job, even if it's paying damn good, because it doesn't have the prestige, because so many of these black women have their inferiority complexes, and you got women trying to counter that. It's like we went from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other, to into the realm of delusion. It's like everybody just skipped right over normal. They skipped over reality. And somehow we ended up in the realm of just total delusion. I mean, all these women, it's like they're just totally, absolutely delusional. And then the conversation usually switches to, well, I'm gonna go get a white man and I'm gonna take my delusion over there. Please do. Please take your delusion over there and find out what time it is. And try to sit there and present the exceptions and like swallow the rule and shit like that. You got like that white guy, the white woman, what's her name, Cassie West or whatever. She's talking about Kevin Samuels. I saw the clip. Freaking Jessica X was talking about it, but I had already seen it prior to that. And there was a couple of issues I had with that video. Number one, the fact that, the white community has way more white men making six figures than in the black community. So of course that white woman's going to see that. Then she went to talking about how a lot of them, they're with average women, and sometimes I see white men that come from particular pedigrees and families and blue blood and all this other stuff, and they got basic white women, and even I feel some type of way about that. And I'm like, yeah, if you feel some type of way about that, yeah, just imagine them being with a black woman, especially a black woman that has a kid by a black man. Because that's what these women are sitting there talking about, because that's what the whole show, not the whole show was actually not about that. That woman called in and interrupted Kevin's show. But I'm saying, that's what the conversation is about. This 35-year-old woman who came on and, was talking about, what you want to do. Where Kevin fucked up is, and this is the whole problem I have with older black men. Okay. She talked about Kevin's 2 times divorced. She actually did say that what about a divorced man, a divorced older man, and Kevin shot that down because Kevin doesn't want her. Now, Mediocre Tutorials, he had a chick that was doing an interview with her. I watched it, and the crazy thing is the host was really attractive. But nah, I mean honestly, now that I've seen a side profile of that chick, yeah, she's pretty hit. She's worse off than what I thought she was based off of Kevin's show. It's pretty bad. She got a hell of an overbite. It's pretty bad. Okay, the makeup is wrong, the weave is wrong, the Betty Boop eyelashes that I wish sisters. It's 3 things I wish sisters would stop. Stop with the scary Elvira nails. Stop with the Betty Boop eyelashes, and stop with the damn Goku eyebrows or the Vegeta eyebrows straight out of Dragon Ball Z. Stop that shit. Okay, that's just a side note. I'm off my soapbox. But the other thing that was irritating with the white woman talking and shit, and the way that your girl who swirls, she reposted the video like, yes. And I'm like, first off, kids out of wedlock are not an epidemic in the white community like it is in the black community. Yes, it's growing, but they don't have 86% kids out of wedlock. Okay. And, talking about, what I didn't like about the Cassie West video, and I think that's her name, Cassie West, she didn't talk about the fact that the woman had kids until she got all the way to the end of the video. I'm like, oh, so you're just going to overlook all that? Because that's what it's about when it comes to dating, high value men. And you got women out here co-signing and shit. But I'm saying even this white woman, Cassie West, when she got with her, the husband that she got with, her white husband, and had 3 kids with, you know what I'm saying? She didn't come to him with no babies. You know what I'm saying? Like this. So I don't know where, why, how we got to the point where, the conversations of black relationships start with hypergamy and entering relationships where these women already have babies by somebody else. I mean, this rolls right into why you have educated lames that are looking their ass right over the fence. I mean, seriously speaking, you in the black community, you can't throw a rock without a single mother. I could turn around, look in the white community or any of these other communities and throw rocks and not hit single mothers. That's the ugly reality of what's going on in the black community. All these black women, they got zero respect for black men. Zero, even when it comes to black men that ain't the ones that pumped them up full of babies. They feel like these guys owe them something. And you're going to hear me cover that in a long, drawn-out video. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually repeating part of myself. But I'm like, the ELs don't owe you anything. They owe their mothers. They don't owe you anything. You know what I mean? You get all these women, they see a black man. They don't want to see him taking his resources over the fence or anything else like that. And they feel entitled to that black man, like they own that black man and whatnot. But I'm like, chick, he's not the one that got you pregnant. Yeah, he's a black man that looks like the one that got you pregnant, but he's not the one that got you pregnant. Take that up with your baby daddy. Hell, maybe if you demanded what you're trying to demand from these other ELs and shit that you really don't desire, you really don't want, you just want them for the resources. But maybe if you demanded that originally from the man that you allowed bust up in you 3 times, you know what I mean? Then maybe you would have what you actually want. But y'all go out here, y'all be fucking up. Then you come back on the market and then you're mad and you're angry and you're dropping all that attitude on other black men. They motherfucker don't even know you. Don't even know you. You dropping all that attitude on these guys, acting like they're the problem. I'm like, no, you're the problem. And the man that you had the baby with is the problem. And like I said, my generation, man, we ain't dealing with that shit. We're not dealing with this whole normalization of baby mamas and everything. Like, this shit has come to a head. Like, it's come to a close. We're shutting it down. You know what I mean? I remember the transition. I remember, songs was coming out. That's just my baby daddy. Who that is? That's just my baby daddy. Who that is? That's just my baby daddy. You know what I mean? And we knew even then, we were like, what the fuck is going on? What you mean that's just my baby daddy? Aren't people supposed to be married and shit? Mind you, all the black people running around, sitting up in church. Oh, we Christians. Oh, we love white Jesus and everything. They don't follow none of the Bible. Out there fornicating and everything else. Sexual irresponsible as hell. Nah, man. We tired of this shit. And that's another reason why, black men have gotten nasty about it. Now, maybe Kevin Samuels, or let me say this, Kevin Samuels should not be the face of it, okay? Because of the fact that, he's 2 times divorced and got kids and everything. He can't speak with the energy that childless men speak from. You know what I'm saying? He may understand it, and he may say, they don't want that, and be 100% right. You know what I mean? But, should he truly be the face of it? No. Because that point that, he's 2 times divorced and got kids, that's always going to be brought up. You know what I mean? But it's not like what is actually being said is untruthful. Black men are sick and tired of this shit. And even Cap acknowledged, he was like, I got to own some of this. And I said, why? And he was like, because, man, he's like, I was one of them motherfuckers that was out there dating these chicks, man. Cap dated nothing but, single mothers. Because at the time, that's all that was out there. So apparently it was just that bad in Detroit back in the day. Everywhere you look, chicks had babies. And he dated women that had more than one child. I told y'all he had that girl, the 18-year-old girl, or a girl called one of the daughters of one of the women he was fooling with. She called him up on the 18th birthday and said, where did you go? She felt abandoned because he had made a bond with her. But the mother, she was on some stupid shit, and Cat was like, all right, I'm out. I'm not signing on the dotted line. I'm out. You know what I mean? But the daughter, she had already made a connection. Again, going back to what's his name? Cars and Entrepreneurs or whatever. He brought that up with the whole, it's two and three times the heartbreak. Because you don't just break up with the woman, you also break up with the child if it doesn't work out. And she's going to take her children with her. It doesn't matter what bond, what connections you make with those children. They're not yours, and you're going to find that out when she walks out the door. So why even go through all that bullshit, aside from the fact that you don't gain anything, especially, from a genetic standpoint, in terms of taking care of somebody else's kid. You're helping facilitate Ray Ray and Pookie's genes going forward. Why should Ray Ray and Pookie's genes go forward? Or any of these dudes that are not taking care of the responsibilities of their children? Why should they get immortality? And why should you support them getting immortality? And the sad part is, who ends up suffering at the end of the day? That's right, all them little kids. All those little kids are the ones that end up suffering. You know what I mean? And so you got to sit there. Like, it's why there's so much anger for a lot of these women, because it's like you got to sit there and watch these children suffer that you can't help, because if you come in there and you help out, in some way, the women look at you, black women look at you like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Their orientation it's all fucked up. From ancient Africa, pyramids of Egypt, Hoteptris, hot oracle, priestess, all that shit. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Then when you come in there with the resources, they look at you like, you're like, yeah, you're supposed to give me your resources so I can do what I'm supposed. That's what a man does. They do that bullshit. Oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing. They don't have no respect for you. You're a lame. You're still that lame. You're still corny. No, the only difference is now they need resources. That's the only damn difference. It's the only difference. And so, again, and you'll hear me talk about that. I talk about, the issue of, a lot of ELs wanting to be thirsted. And I'll cover that in the other video that I already did, but it's like, nah, these women, they don't actually want these guys. I mean, just listen to the way that woman on the mediocre tutorials with the 3 kids, just listen to her tone about, she's not dating blue collar men and what her expectations are and the attitude and the jokes that she's throwing out there and everything else. Does that sound like a woman that actually respects black men? You see what I'm saying? That whole situation, even if a dude was going to come in there and provide resources and take on her 3 kids, bitch, you ain't running shit. But see, a woman, she'll sit there and she'll be like, well, they're my kids. She'll look at it like she's the rock and the fountain. She's not joining you. You're joining her. And again, goes back to these sisters having wrong orientation. She looks at it like, I'm adding you to what I got going on. I need you to take care of all these kids. Bitch, you out of your fucking mind. But that's how they look at it. They don't look at it like, I'm joining his program. All my kids need to be in line. Johnny, you need to behave. Like, no. They look at it like you're joining them. I'm blessing you with this used pussy, this used uterus, and all these liabilities and shit. Who's going to buy them kids a car? Oh, I guess the man that's not their father. Who's going to send them off to college? Oh, I guess the man that's not their father. Like, man, nah. You when you start seeing shit like that, man, you start looking at other races of women, childless other races of women that go to the gym and they're fit and all that other shit. Man, them bitches start looking real good. You know what I mean? They throw you a smile. You sitting there with your corny smile, smiling back. You know what I mean? They start looking real fucking good. Ain't got none of that attitude, none of the disrespectful disposition. Fuck with Cynthia G be up there talking about all that dumb shit she talks about. Motherfuckers are not out here actively looking for racist white bitches to fucking go out there and fool with. Especially when you talking about brothers that actually got 2 nickels to fucking rub together. You know what I mean? And have that level of intelligence that they have to have in order to be in corporate America and shit like that. You can recognize a ratchet ass bitch of any race when you're out there and you have some intelligence about yourself. Not with the fucking low level riffraff or fucking around. Not the caliber of black men that black women go out here and actually get pregnant by. You know? Nah, it's just fucked up. It's so fucked. I mean, just again. Yeah, after 3 kids, yeah, what you feel you deserve as a black woman now has become what you actually need. Now that you got 3 mouths to feed, yeah, you actually need a man that's making that type of money. It's already transcended past what you feel you deserve because you're a black woman and the black woman is not valued. And I'm going to force a motherfucker to value me by demonstrating how much he spends on me. It's just the ultimate form of solipsism. It just completely ignores what the other person wants. What does the man want? What does that black man want? You know what I mean? You got 86%, or not 86%. What is it? 80% of black women, obese and overweight. They're not even getting the weight in order. So I'm saying, and that's a collective number. So it's like, when you want to talk about men, in that upper, 10% of incomes or whatever, right? I'm like, what are these women bringing to the table that these men even want? Don't cook, you know what I'm saying? Use pussy, bunch of fucking kids, don't want to lose the fucking weight, older, you know what I'm saying? Bad attitudes. What, who wants to deal with that shit? And this whole culture of black women being, self-righteously indignant, at the idea that, that's that, that black men are supposed to put up with that shit, and that that's not a negative thing. These attitudes are not a negative thing. You just can't handle a strong black woman. that bullshit. Man, motherfuckers so sick of this shit. I mean, just so sick of it. And then when somebody snaps on your ass because you're not listening to the fact that we so sick of this shit, then all of a sudden, like that woman tried to tell Kevin, oh, he mean. He's so mean. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck off my show. I mean, it's just like, just not listening. And see, all that's going to happen is this. With this new generation of black men, or this current generation, of black men, all that's going to happen is y'all going to find out the hard way. Because, going back to what Kevin told that woman, you're going to die alone. That's exactly what's going to happen with a lot of these women. Motherfuckers is not fucking with them. The older dudes don't want to fuck with them, for their stupid ass selfish reasons. And I already covered that. Some of those guys already got kids, but apparently none of the people with children want to deal with other people with children. You know what I mean? But the childless people, man, they be drawing a line in the goddamn sand. You know what I'm saying? Like all that, get your shit together and get on and get established and everything. That shit was not for the purposes to go out here and take care of somebody else's babies, male or female. So, it's like, no, they're going to find out the hard way until the culture shifts and realigns itself and people start realizing how much them going out here and having babies by dusties is going to completely undermine their chances of finding somebody quality and decent, because they basically destroyed their value, their sexual market value in the dating marketplace. That's what it's going to take. Because I mean, the attitudes and all this, what they feel they deserve, and I'm demanding this, and I will not accept anything less and everything. Like, bitch, who the fuck is you? With your old, used up, tired pussy and a bag full of fucking responsibilities that I did not create. And just, the whole demeanor is just wrong. It's just wrong. I'm like, y'all need to humble yourselves. Seriously speaking. You know what I mean? If somebody comes through and wants to take you on and take on your kids, you should be motherfucking grateful, bitch. You should be motherfucking grateful. But no, that's not what we hear. I mean, go watch that video, Medio tutorials, and just, I mean, just the whole tone is just wrong. It's just off. You know, and you start looking around as black men, you're like, man, this is what the community is? Like, this is what it is? You know? And then even with the childless women, you know, I don't want to throw them underneath the bus, but, you know, a lot of them got wrong orientation. You got to deal with the feminism and shit like that. You got to deal with that, you know, even when they don't have kids, they still got wrong orientation. You know, thinking that they supposed to run shit, be in charge and everything else like that. You get to a point as a black man where you like, man, I ain't dealing with this shit, man. If I don't have to deal with it, you know, and then you factor in all that other stuff, light skin universe and expansion of the light skin universe and all that shit where, you know, black men feel that they have access to other races of women, you know, other racial accessibilities and stuff like that. If that wasn't on the table, then maybe, you know, there'd be a different conversation. You know, but again, as Kevin pointed out, you know, 30% of educated black men are marrying outside the race. I didn't know that. You know, and as I said in my other video, you know, if that's what the number is for the marriage, then, you know, the dating, you know, that's got to be even higher. You know, again, just talking about the men that are educated, not the general population, the men that are educated. They're the ones that are therefore the most desirable, the ones that would therefore be making the six figures for the most part. You know, it's just the whole kids out of it. It's just all that shit. I'm telling you, once you see a woman that goes out there and gets with some dude, and he ain't offering nothing, he ain't done nothing, I mean, just once you see that, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if my mic cut out or not, but I'm saying once you see that, man, it's almost impossible to put a woman on a pedestal. So let me get this right. So I'm supposed to come here and pay for something that some other motherfucker got off of the strength of nothing, pumped you up full of 3 babies or whatever, and then I'm supposed to come in there and be the beta male provider. Man, bitch, fuck you. I mean, plain and simple. You know, and I'm saying, if you don't want me to be mean about it, then it's just going to be a situation where, you know, it's like okay, yeah, think, let her think what she wants to think. I demand this. Okay, that's cool. You demand that. All right. Good luck. Good luck. I feel I deserve. Okay, you feel you deserve that. Good luck. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin always says on the show. How's that working out for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I like, there's so many delusional people online, it's insane. You know? I mean, I could see somebody, you know, smelling themselves a little bit, you know, they kind of, you know, fall out of their chair because the arrogance is so big. I can kind of see that. You know, and then, you know, somebody says something, checks you, and then, you know, they snap back into reality, and then like, oh, damn, I don't know what I was thinking. I was kind of smelling myself at the moment. You know what I mean? I could forgive people for that, but this type of shit where people just acting like, you know, that like who wouldn't want to be with me, and they don't even recognize like where they are in space. You know what I'm saying? See, the problem is like with anything, it's like something that Cap always talks about. You got to know where the edge is. You got to know where the edge is on anything that you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, like if you have before you can decide to try to do shortcuts, you know what I mean? You got to know what the actual process is, right? Before you can decide, I know I can figure out a better way of doing this, right? When you're learning how to do something, you learn it, you know, the right way, and then you can learn, like you learn how to do add and multiply and subtract and on divide and all that other stuff. And then you can go on YouTube and pull up clips and be like, well, let me show you a different way of freaking multiplying and getting the same answer. And yeah, after you've learned the basics. Same thing applies with knowing where the edge is. You know what I mean? You need to know where the edge is. That way, when you go over the edge, you know how far out you are relative to where you're supposed to be. But if you don't know where the edge is, and this is the whole problem with goalpost moving that's been going on in the black community. Now, remember when thick used to actually mean thick? And then women were like, no, I'm not fat, I'm thick. And then they moved it out a little bit more. You know what I mean? Then they moved it out a little bit more and a little bit more. And the next thing you know, you got women that are 200 pounds plus talking about, I'm thick. How the fuck did you get all the way out there? How did you get out there? That's why I don't like Kevin with his dress sizes and shit. That don't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying Kathy Freeman Drayton is what? She gotta be like what? I don't even know. Actually, let me see if I can find, what her size is. But I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like if you talk about like what her size is, like she ain't gonna be a size 0 or a size 2 or whatever other numbers. Kathy Freeman Drayton weight. Let's see what her weight is. So she's weight is 115 to 125 pounds. She's only 5'6". I don't think that number is for real, to be honest, because I'm like, you little on the thick side. That's why I don't like using fucking celebrities. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if you want an actual thick chick, you talking about in the realm of, let's say she's about 5'5", 5'4". You talking 130, 140 pounds. If you want some meat on your chick, you want some ass and some thighs and shit like that, you're gonna be in the 130s and the low, 140s. That's right about where you're gonna be. But sitting there talking about dress size, like that don't tell me nothing. That don't tell me nothing about how she's built, whether she got curves, whether she got ass, you know what I'm saying, whether she got an hourglass shape. That don't tell me nothing. I hate when he uses dress size. I understand it's a basic parameter that he likes to use, for his little cocktail parties or whatever, but yeah, that shit don't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? I need to, how does your shit look in some yoga pants? Like, how about that? That's the SWP bar. What's your shit look like in some goddamn yoga pants? You know what I'm saying? But why did I bring that up? There's a reason why I brought that up. Yeah, I'm just saying. Oh yeah, I was talking about women that freaking, fat is the new thick. It's like no, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And so these women, the whole thing in the community with the kids just out of control, the kids out of wedlock just out of control. Too many black people, with the generations of single moms and everything, too many black people they're way out there in no man's land. I'm like, you're supposed to be way, way back over there towards the horizon. Wait, what do you mean? We started there? Yeah, that's where we originally started. Somehow y'all ended up way out over here. And I don't even know how you reel people back in, because obviously, the people who've already made mistakes, they don't want to hear the harsh reality. They want there to still be hope. Oh, I need hope. Oh, I want there to be hope. There must be some other way. You can't condemn me to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they want. But, honestly, like, I don't really give a fuck about them people. I care more about the younger people who haven't made any mistakes to, basically not make any mistakes. I think it's more important for people who haven't made mistakes to not make mistakes than for people who've made mistakes to course correct. Because if you can prevent, it's like a disease where you have incidence and you have prevalence. You know what I'm saying? Right? If I can reduce the incidence, then I can reduce the prevalence. Right? If I can prevent people from getting sick, then the number of people who are actually sick within the population will decline, right? That's the whole point about everybody wearing masks, right? So if we can prevent the kids out of wedlock, then we don't have to have these nasty conversations about baby mamas and single mothers and baby daddies and I need a 6-figure man to take care of me and my 3 kids. We don't need to have that conversation if we can stop, with the incidence of single mothers. But because a lot of the people who've already made mistakes think that course correction should be prioritized versus the prevention of teen pregnancy or single motherhood to begin with, and then you get these women, they go out and they're all delusional and shit because, they had kids too early. They didn't get to, be anybody's arm candy. They didn't get to be lusted and desired. And they spend the rest of their middle age, trying to relive, the youth, and the desirability that they basically skipped over because they literally went from living at their parents' house to bam, now I'm a parent now. So they never got to enjoy what it's like to be a young, childless adult. And I see a lot of people online going through their little midlife crisis because they didn't get to enjoy being a young, childless adult. They didn't get to live in that apartment by themselves. Freaking, a whole bunch of young people living in the same apartment complex, all got good jobs, drunk, coming out the elevator and whatnot, stumbling and shit, having a good old time, walking to the bar, walking back, from the bar with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, living the fucking life. Fucking a bitch up against the window with looking at skyscrapers and shit. They never got to do any of that shit. With the bed slid right up against the fucking window, makes you feel like you about to fall out that bitch. They didn't get to do any of that. So they're like really just going through it. Going out there, trying to get attention from other people outside of their spouse. Please, I'm just tell me how fine I am. Tell me how good I look. Tell me I still got it, There's more things that you lose when you go out here and you have kids too early before you're prepared. I don't understand people not having protected sex in 2020. Shit, they were telling us about protected sex like in fucking Dare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on. Anyway, man, I'm getting too preachy. It's just like there's a lot of stuff that I see people just they do it to themselves, and then it's like, look, white supremacy, that's one thing, but like all this, sexual irresponsibility. What does white supremacy have to do with sexual irresponsibility? Tell me what is it, like a Klan member standing behind you, pushing you into a bitch? Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And the fact that this is still going on clearly indicates to me that, the older people are not telling young people the truth. So then it's like I got to come online and talk shit and be an asshole about it. I don't care, what these people who've already fucked up think or have done. I don't care. Don't give a shit. I care about the young people who haven't fucked up yet, and hopefully they get the message so they don't get fucked up, and then we don't have to have these conversations. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.